Is digital dependence eroding the human memory? This is a new study, really interesting, and what it showed is that people use computers instead of memorizing information. Many of the adults who could still recall their phone numbers from childhood could not remember their current work number and numbers of family members. And among the adults surveyed in the UK, 6,000 of them, 45% could recall their home phone number from when they were 10, 29% could remember their children's phone numbers, and 43% could remember their work number. And what the study says, it says that people have become accustomed to using computer devices as an extension of their own brain. It also says that when you recall information, it's a very efficient way to remember things, but there's a difference between recalling information and repeating it as opposed to just checking something online. That's the difference, as opposed to being like, oh, my phone number is 688-0455. That was my home phone number when I was a kid, and always remembering it. When you pick up your phone and look it up, it doesn't stick. Thoughts, 5 words or less.
What were we talking about?
That was mine.
That was, oh, damn you. What was it? I forget.
I remembered my 5 words.
I forgot my 5 words. Okay, you guys. So,
That was method.
Yeah.
Grace, I
So
believed
method.
it.
That
I
was
like,
very Shia LaBeouf.
oh, wow.
okay,
Good
so
job,
does
Sam.
this surprise? Do you guys obviously? I feel like we can all relate to this,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
I would, but most of the stuff I forget that I look up, I would never, ever know anyway in a pre-internet world. Like the numbers or whatever, but like most of the stuff I'm forgetting is like looking up like, oh, how do you fold the clothes so they don't get wrinkled in a suitcase? Like what we lose in memory, we're opening up in ways to figure out and know how to do so many things.
So many how-tos. Yes.
I guess, but I also see, like, I have a lot of friends that are pumping out those kids, and I also see a lot of them saying to their, 2, 3, or whatever, however old, who's asking them a question, I don't know, look it up. Now the default is let me Google it rather than ask mommy or ask daddy. And I think it's because we've just forgotten so much shit that we're like, I don't know. You're going to have to find that out and let me know.
Did you have internet like when you were like in grade school? Because I remember
The internet just came out when I was like 6, and that's why we moved to Belgium, because my dad discovered the internet and was on there on like dial-up. He was like, oh, like jobs. And then there was like, oh, there's a job listing in Belgium. And he was like, family, we're going to Belgium. But that never would have happened without the internet, which is neither here nor there. What I was going to say is that back in the day, before we had these tools, with digital media and whatnot to like remember things, if I were to be like, hey, what was the name of that actress in Blade Runner? And you're like, I don't know. I'd just be like, well, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
Like,
Sean
we'll
Young.
never
Sean
know.
Young.
Yeah.
Sean Young,
I
I remember.
I feel
Sean
like that's
Young.
what would have happened. I feel like it would have gnawed at
Hannah.
you all day.
You would have found
and
a
you'd have-
way.
And you'd have found
You
a
would
way
have
to
found a way.
remember
Yes.
who the frig was
That's
in the
the
show.
thing.
That's
And a lot
the
of
thing.
people get this wrong, but it was actually Rutger Hauer. Because
You-
he's got
I
that
knew that.
ladylike blonde hair.
I knew
You
that. though.
keep asking, or when you're finally like at the VHS store, then you go in there and you
look at it
ask.
exactly.
But I do remember, getting the dictionary and looking things up.
God,
I
yeah.
remember having to cite all your articles.
Yes.
When you write papers, citing was the worst. As opposed to,
She's
just
like, I have
looking
no
things up.
idea. This has not been your experience at all.
Citing
Got it.
articles?
Like when
Yes.
you're doing your bibliography.
I didn't do homework.
Oh.
What's the last phone number that you had to remember?
310-205-0255 because I had to work as a receptionist before I made it
Where was
big on
that?
Pop Trigger. At this place at a film studio that
Cool.
I probably shouldn't mention, so you can't like dial
Okay.
it. But
Yeah.
what? What are you whispering?
LA Center Studios?
No,
You're a
not.
horrible whisperer.
No.
I just saw Brett whisper. It's the worst. Your mouth does not mouth words.
Really?
Yeah, Brett just like turns to me and he's like,
Honestly, in my mind, I was like, oh, this is a really good enunciation. Like I was
you
overdoing
look
it.
like a cat drinking water when you enunciate.
Like angry that I have to do it.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that you're retaining though? Like if you were to look somebody up from Wikipedia, like as opposed to doing research in the past, do you think that you're actually retaining this? Do you see the difference after reading this study?
I think that it depends on what like age bracket you fall into. I think if you're one of the late 20 group into the 30s like I am, then you're more likely to retain some of the little, if it stands out. But I think the younger you are, the more likely it is that you never had to retain stuff, so you were like...
Because you're so
okay.
reliant.
Yeah.
You're
And
so reliant.
So because that muscle hasn't been built up at all, then you're more likely to be like, whatever.
We should
And just
practice. We need to practice brain
play
games.
Sudoku and brain games and all that kind of stuff.
When I went to college, they're like, listen, you're going to forget all this anyway. But they said, we're teaching you how to think, not what to know. So hopefully in this time where more information is at our fingertips, what sets each individual apart in terms of what they can offer intellectually is their ability to do stuff with that information. So if you find yourself not memorizing things as well, A, give it a shot because it's a good thing to have, but also make sure that at least you're thinking for yourself and trying to find new ways to put information that's out there together.
My only thing is, if you don't remember your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
I agree.
If you don't retain information, you're going to make the same mistakes.
Balance of the two.
Compromise,
Okay.
I'm right.
Yes. All right, you guys, that's it for us today. Round of applause for Shauna Malcolm and Grace Baldridge. See you guys next time on Pop Sugar and Brett Ehrlich.
Small.